So now that we have a username and a password, we can actually go ahead and log in. And from there, we're going to be able to access more features, more pages, and therefore, hopefully, we're going to be able to discover more bugs and vulnerabilities. Because, as you know, the more features we have, the bigger the scope it is, and the more likely it is to be vulnerable. So we're simply just going to go to the home page. We're going to click on login, and I'm going to copy the username. And we're going to get the password from here. And we're going to click on login. Now, obviously, you should test the values sent in the login form, but I've done that myself and I know that they're not vulnerable, so that's why I'm not wasting your time with it. And once we're logged in, as you can see, we are getting access to our profile page. Now, this page is very zoomed in, that's why it looks a bit weird. But as you can see, it's giving us the name, the role, and some bio about this person who is a big fan of pizza. And we also have the interests in here. So that's pretty cool. And we have a new page now. It's called yourprofile.php. Nothing being sent to it. So there isn't much to be tested and none of this is clickable. So as usual, when we don't know what to test, when there's nothing to test, we turn on the interceptor and we load the page again. So let's look at the proxy. And as you can see, we have the request to the Your Profile page with no interesting data being sent to it. So we're just going to forward it. And another request to the same page with nothing interesting. So again, we're going to forward this one. Some requests to irrelevant websites that is outside the scope. So we're forwarding these as well. And finally, just before the page loads, you can see we actually have an interesting request with an ID and a data parameter. So the data parameter is set to bio and the ID is set to a very long ID. So this is very interesting. We're going to right click and send it to the repeater for further testing as usual. And in the repeater, we're going to send the request as is. And as you can see, as a result, you're getting the bio of this person. So you're getting the bio that is relevant to the user that has this ID. Now, as you can see, the ID is very, very long. So naturally, you're going to think that there is nothing I can get out of this. And all you're going to do is basically test the values in here and here for all of the vulnerabilities that we know, from SQL injection to XSS and so on. But you should also try to just load normal IDs. Even though this ID is really, really long, the web application might still respond to requests of normal IDs that are not this long. So, for example, let's try to load the bio for a user ID 1. Let's send it. And perfect. As you can see, we actually got the bio for a completely different user. Test account for Zano. Now we can try to set this to 0, see if we can get anything for the admin, because the admin sometimes have 0, and this is saying this user account doesn't exist. If we try 2, it's giving us the bio for account 2. So as you can see now, we're actually able to load data that belong to other users, and therefore we have discovered a broken access control vulnerability. So we discovered an insecure direct object reference or an IDOR vulnerability.